Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. Today we're going to talk about how to decide diuretics. Are you going to use diuretics? Are you not going to use diuretics? Are you going to use some kind of a natural diuretic supplement? I'll tell you right off the bat, of course, that I'm not a fan of diuretics because water's good. We need water inside the muscle cell. Your body's 60, 70, 80% water at any given time. And as soon as you start to dehydrate, whether from withholding water or getting a diuretic, which is going to make you expel water systemically, you're doing yourself a huge disservice because you need water. It's a matter of channeling that. But first of all, I'll ask you, Adam, for clients who may be on performance-enhancing drugs and there may be some water retention from some of the fast-acting oral steroids that people might use at the end of a cycle leading up to a show. Is there any value in any type of prescription diuretic? Do you see that as something that could be helpful?
I don't. I think they're usually battling like an androgen shift than anything, so it's more hormonal management versus like actual water management. So the biggest concern with diuretics with me is either too much potassium, too low potassium where you can develop hypokalemia and get rhabdomyolysis obviously, and then also having possibly too low of sodium. So when we look at managing that, you know, if you have somebody with too much potassium, you want to make sure they're not like taking in a bunch of Morton-like salt and, you know, having their potassium levels just go higher and higher because they're just going to keep expelling sodium. And then that just leads to a whole nother plethora of problems as well. So we can start with cramps and dizziness and headaches and just overall flatness from not being able to retain those minerals as well.
I agree completely. Any client I've ever had on performance-enhancing drugs leading up to a contest, it's still a matter of water and carbohydrate being the two variables, that set of variables that will dictate how full you are and how dry, tight, thin your skin is, all of that nomenclature. So you just don't need it. I mean, I think it does make you look worse if you end up taking any type of a harsh prescription diuretic. And you even had a client who suffered some very, very serious, or a potential client, issues with that. I mean, ended up with rhabdo from that is a complicating factor.
They had reached out to me because they didn't know anyone else to go to. And, you know, we obviously looked at her blood work and, you know, saw that CK, which is creatine kinase, and you know, specifically with the isoenzyme MM, which measures more muscle damage, is risen with taking something like that. So it's definitely really dangerous.
Yeah, and part of it is because most people are probably being dehydrated by a coach, and so then you put that diuretic, you know, drug in there. And I got to say, man, this particular person who reached out to you and then by proxy me, I mean, number one, could have died. Number two, potentially, I was very concerned looking at her labs of having permanent kidney damage and possibly liver. And I think she dodged a bullet. But all of that for something that's not even helpful. But let's turn toward the natural supplements. Everybody has these high potassium type quote, natural diuretics. Is that something that you recommend or see value in?
I think a lot of those, like I'll use MHP Expel as an example, is pretty mild, has a good mineral support, but I'm really okay with or without it. I know a lot of clients really want to take it and they're like, can I take this? I'm like, if you really feel like you want to spend $34.99 on that, I'm okay with it, but I'm okay without it as well. I've had tons of clients peak well without using Expel. But I have 3 clients this weekend that just, they've used it for every prep, and they felt good keeping it in, so I was okay with that.
I feel the exact same way. I think some of the supplement companies that are a little bit more sophisticated have some good stuff in there. Like you said, it's not just dandelion root or vitamin C or things that are going to have a diuretic effect, but a full mineral spectrum, which can be helpful. I would say it's probably helpful to have it in all week. Don't try and cycle things and load things and create a lot of instability in those variables. I think just because you're going to have your sodium on track and consistent with the advantage of being able to increase it when you need, same thing with this. You're going to just be supporting potassium and other minerals, magnesium, sulfur, and just having that as steady as you can elevates that particular mineral base in your body, and consistency is going to be your friend through peak week, so you can manage the other variables much more predictably.
Absolutely. And I would say if you do take that Expel, take it, many days out versus like a day or two before the show. Don't just start throwing that in randomly. So make sure you order that on time to come like maybe the week or week and a half before your peak week.
And the irony, guys, is that we're not suggesting these because it's going to be, quote, a diuretic. It's just to manage the consistency of water retention in your body and the flow of water. So again, there's no need to decrease water or try and eliminate it. It's all about stability. So thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll see you again next time as we continue in our how-to series.